Let's get up to date with all the latest on the OnePlus Nord, including some different colors, the full camera specs of the phone. Basically, we know the entire specs of this device now, and also what looks to be an unreal difference in the price between the markets, especially Europe, UK, and India, which is just actually kind of unreal and not in a good way. Well, depending on which country you're in. But anyway, let's get the camera specs and other hardware out of the way first. So this is a report from Android Authority saying that they have an insider at OnePlus. Read into that the head of marketing, because OnePlus are working with a couple of big publications right now to drip feed information and leaks, I guess you could say, about the phone. And well, that's good for us because now we know the camera specs. The fact is that OnePlus Nord is a mid-range phone, and mid-range phones have to compete in terms of their specs in certain ways. There are just so many mid-range and budget phones with quad cameras right now, but they just make up the extra two with those sensors, macro and depth. Useful for some of us, not useful for others, certainly that macro. It's a bit of a very specific feature, but hey, it does match the OnePlus Nord up with other mid-range phones in terms of what they're giving. The two main image sensors, and I like this setup, a main and an ultra wide. And now we know the megapixels on the main. We were maybe thinking that a 64 megapixel image sensor would come in this one, but it turns out it's probably going to be a 48 megapixel image sensor, and that tells us more that it is probably the Sony IMX586. OnePlus would have another option in a Samsung image sensor, but if you look at the OnePlus 8 series, the OnePlus 7 series, both the T and the one that came a year and a half ago, they use the Sony IMX586, which is at 48 megapixels. This is still a very decent sensor. It's definitely not flagship anymore, certainly for the main image sensor. Phones have moved on from this, but they still do use it in the ultra-wide camera on the OnePlus 8 Pro, so you're getting that one under the main lens in the OnePlus Nord. You also get an 8 megapixel ultra-wide, so this is going to be a slightly different ultra-wide camera to the ones they're using in the OnePlus 8 and 8 Pro. Yet to see what the quality is like. I would assume, again, it's going to be okay, average, not the very best. Remember, a mid-range phone. That same article at Android Authority goes on to tell us that the battery is 4,300 milliamp hours. A very good spec, not crazy, outstanding, but very, very normal. And we know the specs now, so a quad camera system, 4,300 milliamp hour battery, and that 90 Hz AMOLED panel. We know specifically from OnePlus that it is AMOLED, so that's a good thing, and we know it's going to be high refresh rate from many different leaks. So a 90 Hz AMOLED panel in a mid-range phone, I think these specs overall look really good. So now it's about the price. And this is the unbelievable thing, and I don't think OnePlus maybe want to talk about this too much. Certainly if you live in Europe and the UK where this is going to be available, it's going to be a real punch in the gut, to be honest. So according to Android Authority, and let's remember they are working with OnePlus in one way or another, whether they're actually telling us exactly what the price will be. According to this article anyway, more or less $300 equivalent price in India. Move that to Europe and you're going to be paying just around about or under 500 USD. That is ridiculous in terms of the price difference between those two countries. What we don't know is the options. India may get an option with a lower amount of RAM as a base, and Europe may get a higher amount of RAM as a base, which may account for some slight price differences. I know that each country is different, has its own import taxes, duties, VAT, everything like that. But I also know in India, actually, the tax on smartphones is quite high as well. So on the surface, this looks like a really ridiculous price difference between exactly the same phone. But let's just wait and see for the launch event. As we know, 21st of July, AR launch event, and maybe just have a look at these prices to see if the base models are different and exactly how different they're going to be. But I think everything is pointing towards the fact that if you're in Europe and the UK, you're going to be paying more for this phone than in India. That is the latest on the OnePlus Nord though. A couple of weeks now until the launch, and any more leaks, hands-on leaks and real device leaks, of course, they will be covered. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one.